Greetings, royal queens and kings. It's your host, Queen Tulsa. Welcome back to the Queen Tulsa Show. I will be your captain today. I'll have a co captain, but you'll have to stick around and find out who that is. First and foremost, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I need you to press that subscribe button down below. If you're already subscribed to the show, set your notifications to all so that you don't miss any of the hot topics and fire content. And go on and press that like button while you're at it. Queens and kings, on the agenda today, we have three new charges. Shirley Strawberry's husband. Steve Harvey's home was up as a vacation crash spot. The husband's proposal on the live air. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2015. Um, I don't know, was Ernesto using his other voice? Well, let's get into this. Steve Harvey, the radio co host Shirley Strawberry, has been a part of Harvey's radio team for more than a decade. Now she's coming under fire. Her children are Sheridan. Well, we have a lot to get into, so let's get into it. Hello and welcome. Thank you all for coming by. I really appreciate you. Oh, absolutely. Please like, share, and subscribe. The Goddess Tulsa Show. Welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now is the time to go ahead and get ready for the show. We have some great news for you. Okay? We're going to have a great time. So I really appreciate you and your dedication to showing up. Gratitude. Don't be afraid to hit that cash app. And don't forget to smash that like button. Our royal roll call. Okay, we have Norris Tony in the building. Norris Tony says, "Hey Tulsa, hey Norris, and thank you for coming by tonight. I really appreciate you." Absolutely. So tonight we are going to have a fabulous night, and I'm thankful that you all showed up for the show. Okay, now we are going to give our content disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976. Allowances is made for fair use. Okay, let me see. I'm going to have to come in from the studio. Okay, I might just have to come in from the studio. Bear with me. Okay, because not really sure what's going on behind the scenes, but we're not going to make a scene. And so I'm just going to come in from another gadget. So give me 1 second as I proceed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you all can hear me. Okay, copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This video was made for entertainment purposes and is transformative in nature. All right, now that we've got that out the way, okay, so you guys, if you haven't been watching Our good girl, Shirley Strawberry, whom is a part of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Well, her husband, mhm, Ernesto Williams, has come under fire, and it's really just been a lot going on since his arrest. Let's go ahead and hop on over to the media takeout. Media takeout has reported that the allegations and the disruption of pretty much the relationship, if you want to ask me, right? So let's go ahead and get into this article from Media Takeout. All right, Media Takeout says Steve Harvey, radio co-host Shirley Strawberry's husband, accused of P Doe charges, and this was on June 28th of 2023. Steve Harvey's radio co-host Shirley Strawberry has been a part of Harvey's radio team for more than a decade. Now she's coming under fire. A man bearing the same name as her husband, Ernest Williams, arrested and charged with having child P on his computer, and folks on social media suspect that the man charged with the heinous crimes is Shirley's husband. Okay. The man had a bail hearing on live stream, and details of the arrest are as follows. Police claim that they found a single photograph on his computer. They also claim that Ernest was charged along with a woman whom he has some sort of relationship with. Folks suspect that the woman that Ernesto was charged with is his alleged side chick. Ernest has a long criminal history. He spent time in prison for fraud and armed robbery. Media takeout confirmed. While Ernesto's lawyer did not say specifically that Ernesto is married to Shirley Strawberry, he did give a few hints. First off, Ernesto's lawyer told the court that his wife was a person of public notary. Ernesto's attorney let it slip that the name of Ernesto's wife is S. Strawberry. Okay, so here's Strawberry and her husband Ernesto. A picture right here on your screen. And actually, I think I'll put up a more favorable photo. hmm hmm Now, here's the crazy part. During the bail hearing, the prosecutor claims that they taped Ernesto's phone and heard him talk to multiple people. They claim that Ernesto spoke with an alleged side chick and that he planned on leaving Atlanta and fleeing to Florida with her. Okay. The prosecutor also claimed that he eavesdropped on a call between Ernesto and his wife. During the conversation, it was said that his wife's boss, possibly Steve, had a second home in Abu Dhabi, Abu Dhabi, and that he may be willing to provide it to Ernesto so he could leave the country and evade prosecution. Ernesto and Steve Harvey are close friends and have known each other for years. In fact, Steve is credited with introducing Shirley to Ernesto, and in their wedding, Steve actually walked Shirley down the aisle. Hmm. This is crazy. Watch the hearing as well as the blogger breaking it down. Okay. So yeah, without further ado, let's just go ahead, roll the content. I'm not going to deprive you guys of a good show. So with that being said, let's go. Because I really feel like that is a great point, Sharia Smith. You really pointed out. So let's go ahead and get into it.
For a reason for that, Your Honor, I apologize. Follow the instructions. Oh, see you later, Miss Ferguson. Goodbye. Appreciate that. Don't let Miss Ferguson back in. Sorry about that, Your Honor. That's okay. Yep. All right. Best of luck to you, sir. So we'll count off the days. It'll be put in place on the 91st day. All right? Very well. Thank you, Your Honor. All right. Thank you. All right. Ernest Williams. Don't let that lady back in. Ernest Williams. Raise your hand. All right. Here we go. His position is that there's 4 cases, I think, for Mr. Williams. Position 2 is 2-2.
All right. So this is what we're hearing. This is the live hearing, not the one that was yesterday, because that one had been taken down already. But this is the previous live when everything had come out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So stay tuned with me. I'm gonna drop in the chat with you guys. Give me one. All right. Let's get into the content.
CP 210-500, 355 days without indictment. There's a $15,000 bond as of 10/31/22 for step by deception. Let's see, 22 CP 211078, Ernest Williams, 355 days without indictment. $75,000 good bond as of December the 31st, 2022, with 3 counts of conspiracy to commit a felony. Possession 4 is 22 CP 212559, 355 days without indictment with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts of conspiracy to commit a felony, and there is a $20,000 split bond as of 10/17/2022. Position 5, 355 days without indictment, 23 CP 215407. I'm assuming you want me to waive, Mr. Lewis?
Sure.
All right, well, I can say it if you want me to, or do you want me to waive?
I don't think Miss Williams cares. Well, yeah, wait, Judge.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 other felonies on there that have to do with nudity, let's say. No bond as of January the 13th, 2023. Free.
In regards to Mr. Williams, still other open cases, 22 SC 18443, theft by taking, theft by deception, 22 SC 184-402, theft of services, deposit account fraud. Both of those are assigned to Judge Edwards. Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Lewis.
All right, Judge. You mentioned all the days on Mr. Williams. I don't find it to be a good use of anybody's time to go back through all that. I believe Mr. Williams, my client, is now 59 years old. When I believe when this case first began, he was 58 years of age. Judge, he was born in Augusta, Georgia. He has lived in the Atlanta area since 1994. From 2015 to 2019, he lived in California. He got married in 2015, Judge. He is the father of 6 kids and 4 grandchildren. Some of them in the state of Georgia. His oldest granddaughter is a student at Georgia State University. Judge, he has owned grooming parlors some barbershop, both in Peachtree and Far Road, as well as in Sandy Springs. He sold some businesses, some land to the city of Atlanta in 2016 from those first sets of business. In 2021, he opened a new location, Nesta Grooming, which tears down from the old location. That business has been dissolved partially because of what is going on today with him sitting in. So in other words, he's losing money from his businesses from being in here. And that has been testified also to by one of the law enforcement officers from Roswell. He had owned an unarmed security service, Nesto's Elite Security Company, where he had a number of 1099 persons working for him. Judge, my client had a number of felonies in his past. Those felonies go all the way back to the 80s. He's got he's got one in 2008, which looks like it is a merger, meaning when they're doing the sentence on one, they're doing the sentence on the other. And there is a deal, and my client decides to take the deal. His wife resides in Buckhead, and you will see, and I think that is the Buckhead community. She doesn't say Buckhead on her affidavit, but she does reside in Fulton County and in Buckhead. Judge, his history, there's nothing in the last 10 years. He's never been in one of these cases accused him of attempting to pass somebody off as a lawyer. His co-defendant in that case has a consent signature bond that has been signed off on. I believe Mr. Majeski can tell you more about that when he do it. He has never himself been involved or accused or convicted of anything that involves a person passing themselves off as a lawyer or impersonating anybody ever in life. This last case that came about involved, if my understanding is correct, and I don't know because I haven't received discovery on it since it hadn't been indicted, a single photograph that was found on a computer that the prosecution, well, not even the prosecution at this point, I guess it's still the police because it's not indicted or accused, claimed was my client's, and that he was in possession of either the computer or the photograph that's on there. My client has never been accused of anything involving nudity or anything else with children. He has been convicted of things like armed robbery in his past, and that occurred in Cobb County. I believe he was sentenced to 5 years back then on that. Bank fraud when he came to pick up a check that they said was cleared, and he was arrested on the scene. That's his federal case. So that's the kind of stuff my client has been convicted of in his past. And so far, nothing else has happened on these cases. The oldest you've quoted the dates on, the youngest you've quoted the dates on, all of those dates are beyond the 90 days, some of them beyond 180 days. So what I'm asking for, Judge, is on every last one of these cases, if and where you can, that you enter in a unsecured judicial release that mirrors his co-defendant on one case that she has with him that was consented to, and on another case where there's 14 counts where she engages or is alleged to have engaged in similar behavior as to what she is accused of in this case. On the rest of them, Judge, I'm asking for a UJR, but in no instance of an amount of a bond greater than $5,000 per count. On one of the bonds, I believe that you signed, Judge, you tell him he can't be with his wife. I'm going to ask that you...
Is that Melody Scretchen?
No, it's the other lady, the SS lady.
Oh, Strawberry.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, let him be with his wife before we end up having a divorce matter in Fulton County. Judge, also, you tell him he can't reside. I have an affidavit. His wife is a person of some public notoriety. She asked, she's given me the affidavit, Judge. I did not file it in because if it's filed, she likes to kind of remain private where she can, when she can. And so she asked that you take the necessary measures. If you want that filed in the court, we can do that. We can publish it directly to you right now so that her address doesn't become common knowledge for her public. Although she loves her public to death, she wants some privacy occasionally as well. And so that's what we're asking for, Judge. I believe that's the sum total of it. I'm sorry. There are two other matters that my client has in its history that I've been told of, but I haven't been provided with anything on. I understand that he has a warrant for a misdemeanor case out of Henry County that's still awaiting. And I've been told that there's a matter in California that the California doesn't want to extradite. I can't provide you. I wish I could give you more on that, but I can't. I don't have it. All right. So that's my request. And I thank you for hearing me.
All right. Ms. Patton?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh. This will be Kevin Majeski for the state judge, and this will also be ADA Lisa Taylor. I wish I could be quick on this one, Judge. This is an extremely dangerous person we're dealing with here, and there's going to be numerous upcoming warrants coming in this case. I believe Roswell told us today when we checked for an update. Before the 13th, there's going to be about 15 plus more warrants coming his direction, serious felonies in there, for sure. The reason it was the 13th was so particular is because the last time that these particular cases were heard was in the month of January by Judge Belinda Edwards. She actually heard all the CP cases, and she also heard all the SC cases. Then she entered a ruling on one of the SC cases on the record, and for whatever reason, didn't put anything else on the record for the other ones. But Mr. Lewis and I had, I think it was a 2.5 hour bond motion on that particular one that day. This will be considerably shorter. Yes. But the Judge Edwards heard them back then. And if you note the bond order that she did file in, I believe it was USC 184403, she denied bond in that case and left the no bond in 22 SC 184402, noting that he was an extreme likelihood to commit additional felonies. Going back to his history, Judge, of course, as Mr. Lewis correctly stated, starts in the 80s. He has a laundry list of crimes of moral turpitude that he's committed, multiple armed robberies. There was the one in Cobb, but he also committed another one in Doug. Well, got 10 years of custody for that, statements, multiple FTAs, probation violations, and the bank fraud, which he actually did get federal time for as well. So it was a little bit more complicated than it was held out to be today. He's an ANC recidivist. To address Mr. Lewis's statements that he made about the California cases, it's true he does actually have 2 warrants for his arrest out of California. Those are, as Mr. Lewis said, non-extradition warrants that he has present in both those cases, and we have the reports and the warrants in those cases in our file. Both of those cases have to do with transporting stolen cars back here to Atlanta, actually, is what it says in both of those reports. One of them was out of LA County and one of them was out of Orange County, I believe. And then, of course, there is the case that the other county in Georgia has to hold on him for as well, Judge. when it comes down to these particular cases, I will note for the court that he does, I believe it's on case number 22 CP 212559. That case became kind of like an amalgamation of the few cases when it got entered in the clerk's office. I believe there's 3 charges on there that have no bond currently. We did address that in front of Judge Edwards, as Mr. Lewis can tell you as well, last time we were there, and I agreed with him. He was entitled to a bond then, still is now. And I had proposed, when Mr. Lewis and I had talked, a bond of $25,000 per on those particular charges. The reason I proposed that particular bond is because that particular bond mirrored what he had in the other case, which was $25,000 good as well. Judge, we consider this person to be a flight risk. We have jail calls where he's talking about going to see his girlfriend in Florida, multiple times actually. We have a call where he was talking with his wife about going to stay in her boss's house. I'm going to leave out all the names here, as Mr. Lewis did as well, about her boss's house in Abu Dhabi, which is, of course, quite far away from here, quite far removed from any court's jurisdiction here. And just the general scheme that's been going on here, Judge. When we were last in front of Judge Edwards, she put us on the clock, said, you guys got to get this done. You guys got to get this investigation done. We've been working with Roswell off and on, talking to them to see where their investigation is. It's on schedule. It will be done by the 13th. You'll be served with, like I said, 15 plus new warrants, some of which are very serious that this court, just to put out there, that this court may not even be able to consider, unfortunately. It have to be considered by a sitting elected Superior Court judge. And for that reason, I would have to recommend the $25,000 per on the 22 CP 212559. I believe that the other ADA Taylor, has something to say about 23 CP 215407 and the state's recommendation for bond in that particular matter, Judge.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Taylor. Good evening, Your Honor. Yes, as Mr. Majeski has stated, he's considered dangerous. There are several pending warrants that will be coming out that, based on their content alone, there's a great likelihood that he's someone who will commit further felonies. Furthermore, without mentioning the facts of the case in front of us, children were involved. The state is requesting a bond, knowing that he has to have a bond because it's been well over 200 days, a bond of $200,000 per count, giving us a grand total of $800,000 bond for the case involving the exploitation. There are 4 separate counts there. As standard, I would also request that there be an ankle monitor placed on Mr. Williams, as well as that he surrender his passport, not leave Fulton County, have no internet access at all, and no contact with any minors or animals. But again, he's met all the Ayala factors. He's a flight risk, as evidenced by phone calls that we've heard. Considered dangerous. There are several pending warrants that will be coming out that, based on their content alone, there's a great likelihood that he's someone who will commit further felonies. Furthermore, without mentioning the facts of the case in front of us, children were involved. The state is requesting a bond, knowing that he has to have a bond because it's been well over 200 days, a bond of $200,000 per count, giving us a grand total of $800,000 bond for the case involving the exploitation. There are 4 separate counts there. As standard, I would also request that there be an ankle monitor placed on Mr. Williams, as well as that he surrender his passport, not leave Fulton County, have no internet access at all, and no contact with any minors or animals. But again, he's met all the Ayala factors. He's a flight risk, as evidenced by phone calls that we've heard. Okay. All right.
Judge, just one more thing. If the court is inclined.
In November, Black.
Okay, guys, so let's get into the new charges.
Course.
Okay. Okay, so I just had like a whole Wendy Williams moment, because when you talk about when your husband, is out here moving a certain way and you are at the top of your game, and now you are being embarrassed, like now you're being the laugh stock, which I feel like is very disgusting, right? So let's get into the new charges. Theft by deception. Those are the 3 new updated charges. I don't know if they're out of Cobb County. I don't know if they're out of Henry County, but the story is still developing. Today is Thursday, July the 13th. Charges were brought up against Ernest on July the 12th. So they met their goal a day before, because they were saying that by July the 13th, on July the 13th, that there were going to be more charges. So I want you guys to keep your ears to the streets. If you have any information on this case, I need you to email it to me, okay? And that's going to be Queen Tulsa Direct. Oh, you know what? Go to queentulsa.com and send me a message there. Okay? Go to queentulsa.com and send me a message there on the website. If you have any tips on this case, surrounded this case, if you are a survivor, if you've put money in this man's hand for brand deals or anything like that, we want to speak with you. Okay? And on that note, I definitely want to thank everyone for coming out to the show tonight. And we'll catch you on the next show. So long.
Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say